How's it going, boys? Data 782 here with the finale of Fixing the Franchise here with the Anaheim Ducks. If you are new to the franchise and you don't want to catch up on the last 32 episodes, totally understandable. What we are doing here on Fixing the Franchise is that I take a team that is struggling, that is failing, and I don't just want to turn it around and make it a good team. I want to turn it into a dynasty. So over the last 10 seasons, we've had a lot of success in Anaheim. We won 5 President's Trophies, we made 4 Stanley Cup Finals, we won 3 Stanley Cups, we had a really good record, we had over 500 wins in those 10 seasons. We have some great players like Eli Tolvanen and Cale Makar and other prospects that we've drafted like Mats Lindstrom, Doug Bickle, Jesper Helmerson, Shane Wright. So in this series, what's going to happen is that I'm going to take you all the way to 2044, year number 25. We've done 10 seasons. Now I'm going to fly through the next 15. At the beginning of every season, I'm going to show you the lines for the team. From there, I will then go to the team season stats. So I'll show you our record for that season with those lines, followed by the points that those players scored. After that, I'm going to go straight to the playoff tree. I will show you our record in the playoffs. If we won the Stanley Cup, we have a celebration to watch. If not, it's just the playoff tree, and I'll tell you what we did. Then we'll quickly take a look at the playoff stats, see any awards that we won, and make note of any notable retirements. I'm going to try to fly through this as quickly as possible. I've been working on this night and day for the last couple of days, and I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to watch it, enjoy it. There are some great stats if you love franchise mode, players who win boatloads of awards and break records that are made right now in the NHL by players like Gretzky and Bobby Orr. So I think you'll really enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, please considering dropping a subscription or a like or just a comment, something like that. Just let me know that you enjoyed it. It would mean a lot just to know that you watched and enjoyed the video. So here's something that you're going to see at the beginning of every season. This season that we're going into is 2029-2030. It is year number 11. Our all-time record moving into this season is 529, 225, and 66. That's after 10 seasons, not including the 11th season. Our current playoff record is 91 and 52. Those are our awards, President's Trophies, Cup Finals, Stanley Cups. Our record for most wins in a season is currently at 64 that we made in 2027. And our top players, according to overall, moving into year number 11, are Eli Tolvanen, Shane Wright, Mats Lindstrom, Doug Bickle, and Cale Makar. And off camera, I'm working hard. I'm not just simming through and letting the computer do all the lines in the free agency and the drafting. I'm actually drafting. I'm actually making proper trades. I'm actually trying to make the salary cap work. The only thing that I left automatic was the scouting. I didn't bother sending out my scouts because that would take about 20 minutes a season, but it still did take about an hour a season to go through. So like I said, it would mean a lot if you could just let me know what you thought about this video. And without further ado, we're going to hop into year number 11. These are the stats, like I said, and you'll see a card like this coming up every season. And at the end of the video, it'll be another one that makes note of all the awards and all of our accomplishments through our 25 years. So I thought this was pretty in-depth, a lot of series that go for the full 25 years, let the computer take the reins, but I didn't want to do that because I do not trust the sim engine, that's for sure. And let's just say that to call the Anaheim Ducks a dynasty would be an understatement. So here we go for year number 11. In year number 11, our first line with Eli Tolvanen leading the way at 92 points. The only change is Zane Hickett's 81 overall. He's on our third line. He's a playmaker from Minnesota, pretty much a rookie. Besides that, all the lines are the same from last season. Carson Lambos is a new defender that we got from Detroit, 84 overall, two-way D, 26 years old. Very good two-way D. That's all I got to say. Not a big points guy, but Makar, Clark, Oland, all those guys stay the same. Milan Atanovic is still our starting goalie, now at 87 overall with that medium league potential, our 4th-round pick. And Verkunen, a 7th-round pick, is our backup. And also just to note that Claude Giroux is an assistant coach that we have. He was an AHL head coach, and we signed him up for the NHL. In year number 11, we won the President's Trophy with 123 points, winning 58 games with 17 losses, 7 overtime losses, 4.21 goals for per game, 2.8 goals against per game. Pretty wild if you ask me. Shane Wright led the way with 109 points. A really great season for him. Eli Tolvanen scored 103. One of his best seasons of his career since the 114-point season. Mats Lindstrom put up 54 goals and 94 points, tying his career best and making a career high in goals. Cale Makar, 90 points for him, of course. 25 goals, career high in goals for him. Doug Bickle put up 86, Helmerson 76, Moran 63. Johnny Gaudreau, we picked him up at the deadline. He scored 19 points in 30 games for us. Was not a bad acquisition. And he had never won a cup, so we're trying to get him something. Christian Bugner, 53 points, career high for him as well. Very good season here in 2030, as all these other points that you can see. Colin Reyes, Liam Olin, Brent Clark, all these guys. Pedro Pacioretty, Larmour, Drysdale got to play a full 82. In the playoffs, we swept the San Jose Sharks, but then we lost in 6 games in the second round to the Vancouver Canucks, who ended up going on to win the Stanley Cup in 7 games against the New Jersey Devils, our nemesis, the Vancouver Canucks, somehow always winning Stanley Cups. In the playoffs, though, 10 points in 10 games for a lot of boys. We played well. We put up the numbers. We did what we could. Just didn't work out. Antanovich, 6-3-1, 919 save percentage, 2.31 goals against. Like I said, we won the President's Trophy our 4th time in 5 years. Cale Makar won the James Norris for the 8th straight season. Can you believe that? That is absolutely bonkers. And Eli Tolvanen won his 3rd Lady Byng. In the retirements, you can see the names up there. No one too wild. Looking at people that we may know, we have Cam Fowler, who retired at the age of 38. Put up 520 points, our former captain, and Hampus Lindholm as well, also retiring there. Jakob Slavin also retiring, former legend. John Gibson hangs them up, 76 overall. He won 444 games in his career. John Gibson was a huge part of his organization. And in the draft, we traded up for the 3rd overall pick because the team wanted to trade it. So there was a defenseman here, Isaiah Harrington, went ahead and took him. 79 overall, medium elite, two-way D. They wanted to trade it, so we went ahead and got it. And then sadly in the offseason, Antoine Morand, our captain, decided to leave for the Penguins. He wanted upwards of $7.5 million to be our 3rd-line center, so we could not afford it. In year number 12, the lines are looking pretty much the same with Tolvanen, Wright, Bickle, 90 overall. Second line, Helmerson, Bugner up to an 88, and Mats Lindstrom at a 91. Pretty solid top 6 right there. Change Helmerson to a power forward to keep the pluses. New additions, Pat Roberts and Sven Faust in the bottom line. Defense looks the same with Makar, Lambos, all those guys. Harrington, our 3rd overall pick, is on the bottom pair with Ethan Larmour. And in goal is Milan Atonovich with Rickard Verkunen backing him up. Verkunen, a former 7th round pick of ours. And with Moran gone, we need a new captain. And that is Jesper Helmerson with Wright and Makar as his alternates. He's been here for a long time. In the season, we went 59-15-8 to win another President's Trophy. Eli Tolvanen scored 100 points. Lindstrom scored 50 goals. Bugner put up career numbers with 92 points, 69 assists for him. Great season down on the second line. Signed him to a 5-year, $5 million contract. Huge. Makar, 90 points. Helmerson put up career highs with 87 and 40 goals. Career highs all around this season. A very good year for year number 12 in Anaheim. Oland, Clark, Pacioretty, Lambos, all the boys getting the work done even in the bottom 6. Harrington, too. Antanovich went 48, 13, and 5 with 4 shutouts, a 908 save percentage, 2.61 goals against. On the last year of his deal, though, but he put up a good season, even though the contract's up. In the playoffs, we swept the Sharks for the 2nd straight season, but we lost to the Oilers in 7 in a devastating loss. They lost to the Predators in 7, and then they lost to the Flyers in 5. Philadelphia Flyers, Stanley Cup champions. Mats Lindstrom scored 16 points in 11 games. Tolvanen 13, Wright, Makar, Bugner. Everyone put up numbers, but it just wasn't enough. Antonovich even didn't really have the best save percentage, really, which was a bit of a killer. Another President's Trophy, like I said. Hart Memorial to Mats Lindstrom. That's pretty wild. Cale Makar wins another James Norris. Antonovich wins the William M. Jennings for his low goals against average, and Ted Lindsay goes to Mats Lindstrom, like we said, with the Hart. Trocheck finally retires, finally done with him. Josh Anderson retires. And then in the draft, the 1st overall pick, the Hurricanes were looking to trade it, and it was a franchise defenseman, Clint Ivany, a franchise 2-way D. So I decided to put a package, a couple firsts, a prospect, Liam Oland, whose contract was expiring. I traded them to the Hurricanes, drafted Ivany, medium franchise, 80 overall. So goodbye, Liam Oland. Thank you for everything, but wasn't going to be able to re-sign him. In year number 13, the top six is looking deadly with Tolvanen, Wright, and Bickle on the first line, Helmerson, Bugner, and Lindstrom on the second. Bickle got him signed to a nice deal, 6 years, 7.3, all 91 or higher. Bugner still on that nice contract. Jesper Helmerson looking really good as well at 91. Really happy to see that, as I have him signed 5 years at $9 million. Bottom six still good as well. Joey Lackey was a first-round pick from St. Louis. Peverly, Pacioretty, all these guys. Emmanuel Bergevino, we got him here, his son. On defense, Harrington in his second full year, he's now at an 85 overall, which will be nice to see. Last season, scoring 16 points. He played the full 82 with Cale Makar, Clark, Lambos. Clark, who I got him signed 2 years, 4.8. Lambos is signed for 4 years, 3.95. Ronning, not that good, but we need someone on defense, and Clint Ivany in his first season as our new franchise defenseman. He's on his entry-level deal. And in nets, Milan Antanovic at an 88 overall now. Got him signed at 7 years, 8.5. Decided to splurge a little bit on a goalie. Pascal Phaneuf is our backup. We had another good season, once again winning the President's Trophy with 57, 16-9 being our record. That is another great year in Anaheim. Tolvanen scored 94 points to lead our team with 41 goals. Another bellow year from him. Shane Wright always putting up the assists. Bickle. Helmerson put up a career high in goals and points with 82 points and 49 goals. Pretty wild to see that from him. So back-to-back career years. Cale Makar, of course, always getting it done. Bugner, career high in points on the second line. Lindstrom, a slower year for Lindstrom. Pretty weird to see from him, only 67 points. Harrington, 42 in his second season, playing with Makar, which was good. And then there's everybody else who's going on. Ivany, 9 points in his first season. Not much, but up to an 84 overall. And Natanovic went 49, 13-7 with 4 shutouts. Another very good season, possibly his best. Pascal Phaneuf played well as a backup. But in the playoffs, once again swept the Sharks, and then we lost in 5 to the Flames, who beat the Predators in 5 and beat the Hurricanes in 6 to win the Stanley Cup. So, hey, good for them, I guess. Tolvanen had a good playoffs. Everyone did pretty well, except for the guys I was like, I guess at the top everyone did well, but as we go down, Makar only 2 assists in 9 games. Really weird to see from him. Weird that we always sweep the first round and then we just can't make it past the second round the last few years. Antanovic played okay in the playoffs, had a shutout and all that good stuff. We won the President's Trophy, like I said, and Cale Makar, another James Norris, and Antanovic won the Vezina and the Jennings, back-to-back Jennings for him. Kucherov retired, Panarin, all those guys. Seth Jones called it a career, 78 overall. He was a huge part of our team here. He went to Buffalo for his last season. All the best to Seth Jones. Sonny Milano also retired. And that's year number 13. In year number 14, the top 6 is still looking great. Tolvanen, Wright, Bickle, Lindstrom, Bugner, and Helmerson all getting it done. Bottom 6 is pretty similar as well, with Lackey up to an 82. Bergevin, Kompaka's there at the age of 34. Original draft pick back in 2016, who we traded away, but now we have back for the fourth line. Harrington's up to an 89. Makar's at a 91 at the age of 33. Ivany's up to an 85. Clark on the last year of his deal at an 84. Lambos and Lou Von Fersen, who we got in free agency, I believe. 3 years. Making $3.15 million. Antanovic is at an 88. Phaneuf is still there, but now at an 86, so he won't be a backup for long. But we do have him signed for a couple of years. Now at the trade deadline here, decided to make a move looking at Georges Legault from the Canadiens, a great offensive defenseman. Brant Clarkson, the last year of his deal, so I decided to trade him. Even though it was hard, it was the right thing. A nice offensive defenseman, had a good season points-wise. He went on the second pair with Lambos. Once again, we won the President's Trophy with 64 wins, tying our franchise high in this franchise mode. 64-12 and 6 was our record. Shane Wright led our team with points with 108. That was a career high for him, I believe. No, one less of his career high, which was 109, but still career high in assists with 90. Tolvanen scored 107. Bickle scored 52 goals. That's a career high for him. No, he scored 53 in 2028-2029. Cale Makar, 95 points. Now that's a career high, as he put up some wild numbers at the age of 33. Now 34 years old is Cale Makar. Mats Lindstrom scored 47. He's back to his good form. Bugner, 84. Helmerson, 83. Georges Legault, 49 points. With us, only scored 4 points, but had a good plus-minus. and it worked out. I'm glad that we picked him up. There's everyone else's stats. In nets, Atonovich went 48-9-5, another year with less than 10 losses, 4 shutouts, 912 save percentage, 2.39 goals against average, or 3.8 with. But in the playoffs, unfortunately, we lost in the conference finals to the Nashville Predators, who went on to sweep the Leafs to be Stanley Cup champions. And even in the AHL, we lost in 7 to the Providence Bruins. So tough loss there. 16 points for Lindstrom and Helmerson. Makar 15, Bugner 13. We put up some good points. Legault scored 10 and 14. We had a good playoff. Just didn't work out. The Predators were strong. They had good defense and good goaltending. Or did they? Let's check it out in a second. Antonovich was okay, but Connor Ingram, 80 overall, was what got them the cup. Another President's Trophy, like I said. Shane Wright won the Hart Trophy, which was wild. Another James Norris for Makar. And then we won the Vezina, Antonovich, back-to-back Vezinas. His third straight Jennings, which is always great to see, and then as well the Ted Lindsay for Shane Wright. Take a bow, Bello. You definitely deserved it. McDavid retires at an 89 overall, which doesn't make sense, and then Nathan McKinnon at 86 also retires. They definitely could have kept going. Victor Olofsson also retired, and that's year number 14. In year number 15, we are still on top with all of our forwards looking great in the top 6. Tolvanen's in the last year of his deal, so he'll have to be re-signed, but everyone else is looking quite nice in the top 6. As always, Alvin Sullivan, our first-round pick in 2029, is now our third-line center. Hoping for big things from him. Cronwall, a 7th-round pick. Everyone else. On defense, Harrington's now up to an 89. Makar's at a 91 at the age of 34. 2 years left on his deal. Harrington has 2 left on his at 8.225. Lambo's looking good. Ivany, 89 overall in the last year of his entry-level deal, so that's a bit scary. And then over in the net, it is, of course, Milan Antonovich with 88 overall. Phaneuf on the last year of his deal. Once again, won the President's Trophy this year to no one's surprise, getting 66 wins, a new franchise record with 11 losses and 5 overtime losses. In the point totals, Christian Bugner led the team in points with 91 for the first time. Tolvanen right behind him with 90. Makar, another year of 90 points for him. Wright, Bickle, Lindstrom scored 47. Helmerson, 70 points. Everyone looking very good. Ivany even putting up some numbers for himself. Antonovich, once again, less than 10 wins as well. Less than 10 losses. And Phaneuf looked good as a backup. For us to look at the playoff tree, but boys, in this season, we were Stanley Cup champions, taking down the Florida Panthers. I didn't get a chance to look at the playoff tree, but I do know that we went 16-4 in the playoffs. Cale Makar won the Conn Smythe, scoring 16 points in the final round, I think. I think it's a glitch. Let me show you the points of the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know. But he was a monster. A on his jersey, 34 years old. Cale Makar wins it to go along with all his James Norris's. Then our captain, Jesper Helmerson, comes to raise the cup here in 2034. We haven't done it since 2027. And our captain now, who's been here since the beginning, Jesper Helmerson, gets to raise the Stanley Cup. It wasn't a crazy year for anybody in terms of points. A lot of people were a bit over a point per game, but we really got it done. Everyone came together in the playoffs. We destroyed the competition. I think we took down the Panthers in 5. There's Doug Bickle getting his time with the cup. Shane Wright even gets a moment. Usually it's always 3rd and 4th liners, so I'm glad that they gave it to the big boys who have been here for the longest. Milan Antonovich gets to raise the cup. I think it's his first as a starter, maybe his first at all. And there it is, boys. Get your cameras out. Stanley Cup champions in 2034. Mats Lindstrom led the team in points, but Makar had a better performance in the finals, I guess, or something. But either way, he really deserved it. Here are all the point totals if you want to pause and take a look at all those. A lot of players pulling their weight and getting what they had to do done. In net, Antonovich, 16, 2-2, 3 shutouts, 918 save percentage. Pretty wild. We won the cup. Won the President's Trophy, another Norris for Makar, another Vezina for Antonovich, another Jennings for Antonovich, no one's surprised. We got Claude Giroux and Nate McKinnon, their Stanley Cups as assistant coach and goalie coaches, which was great. Eichel retired, Dante Fabro retired, he was a big piece here for a few years. Jakob Larson, who was a big piece back in the day, even Troy Terry, who we traded away, and Brendan Gooley. Now here's a trade that I had to make. Unfortunately, Ivany, with his 90 overall and his franchise potential, he wasn't going to re-sign, and he was wanting a lot of money. He gets a lot of penalty minutes. He doesn't get a lot of points. So I thought, I know he has the overall, but I have to look at who simulates well. And someone who simulates well over on the Blackhawks is Kalle Hogland, an offensive defenseman with good potential. He puts up numbers. So I decided to pull the trigger and make a deal with the Blackhawks for Höglander to end off year 15. In year number 16, the boys are still working hard. Tolvanen, 2 years, $9 million for the old man, still putting up the numbers and the overall. Top 6 is still very solid. I'm glad I was able to keep all the boys together. However, Bugner in the last year of his deal is a bit dicey. Same with Helmerson, 2 years left at 9. Lindstrom's making 13. Lots of cap problems I was running into, but doing what I could to keep the core together. That seems to simulate so well. This guy Pickard I picked up, who's a good third-line center. So hopefully we can keep the core together as long as possible. Signing a lot of free agents and everything. Harrington and Makar as the top pair. Makar at a 90 overall, 1 year left at his deal as he's getting a bit older. Harrington, Lambos, Höglander at 4 years of 5.3. He is doing well, so looking for a first full season from him. Atonovich, 88 overall, of course. Now, we once again win the President's Trophy. I guess I'm just like a broken record now. 65, 14, and 3 was our record. Another President's Trophy. Shane Wright led the team in points with 95. Another great season from him as he continually puts up big numbers. Eli Tolvanen at getting up in the age. He still gets 92 points. Mats Lindstrom, a career high in goals with 55. As he is getting it done on that second line, one of the purest snipers in NHL history. Cale Makar at the age of like 35, 36, puts up 82 points, point per game. I don't know how these guys do it. They simulate like absolute monsters, and I'm loving it. In nets, Antonovich in their 55 win season. I think that's a career high for him. In the playoffs, though, we fell in the conference finals in 7 games to the Blackhawks, who fell to the Senators. We had a pretty good record, but it wasn't enough as we fell in the conference finals. Wright puts up 21 points, so does Makar in those 19 games. A lot of boys put on a show, but wasn't enough, I guess, as well. The goaltending was a bit subpar, but another President's Trophy in Anaheim, another James Norris for Cale Makar, another Vezina for Atonovich, another Jennings as well, as he shared it with Pascal Phaneuf. In the retirements, there are some people there like Mitch Marner. Sam Steele put together a nice career, retiring at an 86 overall with 1,184 points, is it there? Benoit Vieux-Gros, he retired. Good thing I traded him. Same with Taylor Radish. Good riddance from the NHL. And in the draft, I drafted Orlando McMuffin. So that's the end of year 16. In year number 17, a slight change to the top 6 as we lost Christian Bugner. So Brody Canzanello comes into the lineup. He is 89 overall on the first year of his 3-year entry-level deal. The 3rd overall pick in 2033 to Dallas. We picked him up in a deal as we could not keep Bugner. Tolvanen's down to an 86, but still on the first line. Sullivan, Pickard, Stefan Daigle, all these guys from free agency that we pick up. Harrington's up to an 89. Makar at the age of 37 is down to 84 overall. Calle Högland's at an 88. Lambos 83. And then in nets, we have Atonovich, 30 years old, still at an 88 overall. We won the President's Trophy once again, no questions there, with a record of 58, 17, and 7. Mats Lindstrom led the way with 95 points, tied with Eli Tolvanen as well, who also scored 95 points. They are both in the last year of their contracts. Lindstrom, a career high since 2031 in points when he scored 98. So very nice to see that from the 33-year-old. Eli Tolvanen, who put up 95, that's the highest in the last 3 years. Last year of his deal, Shane Wright, 88, Helmerson, 84 at the age of 33 in the last year of his deal as well. Very scary. Cale Makar at 84 overall still puts up wild numbers. 2 years left on his deal as he begins to regress overall-wise, but not stat-wise. Canzanello, 66 points in his rookie season. Harrington puts up 60. All good things as we go down the line and look at all the stats here. Very nice. In net, 46, 15, and 6 was Antonovich's record with 5 shutouts. Backup did pretty well, 12, 2, and 1 record with a couple shutouts of his own. But we fell in the second round in 7 games to the Calgary Flames, who fell to the Canucks, who swept the Senators to win another Stanley Cup. So that was brutal. Shane Wright was a monster with 20 points in 13 games, but everyone else was either around a point a game, which is, Lindstrom, Bickle, Tolvanen, but after that, it really goes down as Helmerson didn't really put up a lot of points, a bit disappointing. Tonovich 7-5 and 1. President's Trophy we won, another Norris for Cale Makar, as we said, no surprises. Canzanello won the Calder, which was nice, our first Calder since I think Antoine Morand. Another Vezina and another Jennings for Atonovich. Wild stuff from him and Makar over the last few years. David Pastrnak retires. He was a big part of our team. Our former captain, Antoine Morin, goes out at 75 overall. He put together a really nice career with 844 points. Comtois, Lundstrom, they all retire. And that's the end of year 17. In year number 18, Eli Tolvanen up on that top line, $8.4 million. He's 37 years old, 84 overall. Let's see if he still has it. Shane Wright at a 91, Bickle at a 90 last year of his deal. Lindstrom got him signed back up 6 years, very expensive, but worth it, I hope. Helmerson got him signed a bit cheaper, 8.335 for 4 more years. So fingers crossed he can still get it done. Brody Canzanello signed him to, no, he's still on an entry-level deal for 2 more seasons. Got some more people for the bottom 6. Arthur Kaliev, Alvin Sullivan's there. Defense, Harrington's now our top-rated defenseman at 89. I think same as last year. Makar's in the last year of his deal at the age of 37. He's an 85 overall. Hoagland, Lambos, Fistrick, Pollock, all there. Atonovich, 88 overall at the age of 30. 2 years left at 8.5. And surprise, surprise, we are President's Trophy champions once again. 4.44 goals for per game. It was a wild season. Eli Tolvanen led the way in points with 113, 1 point shy of his career best of 114. At the age of 37, overall of 84. Absolutely bonkers that he would put up that kind of season. Career high in assists. Wright 101, Bickle 92, Lindstrom 85. Helmerson at the age of 34 gets 70 points. Calle Hoagland, not regretting that deal at all as he puts up 68 points for us. Or is it 69 there? I could not see, but my eyes are breaking. Yeah, tied at 69, him and Makar. So Makar has some competition for the Norris this year. Down to an 82 overall. Him and Hoagland tied for the lead in points. There's the rest of the points from the team. Atonovich, 54 wins for him with 7 shutouts. Absolutely wild that they continue to put up wins like that. The backup did well. And in the playoffs, we took down the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games to win another Stanley Cup. We beat the Oilers in 7, and we beat the Leafs in 7 in the final 2 rounds. It was a wild ride. It was a scary ride, but we got it done against a team that beat us all those years ago. And Eli Tolvanen wins the Conn Smythe at the age of 37. Very well deserved. One of the best seasons of his career. Never been older, never been a lower overall. But some people just have magic in those fingers. Jesper Helmerson, his second cup as captain, comes to get it. Gives a big handshake to Gary. And here he is raising the Stanley Cup. Absolutely beautiful. Nothing better than that. Go and hands it off to Lambos, who's been here for a long time now, Lambos. Very happy to see him getting it. Atonovich gets it as well. And then take your phones out and get those tissues. Stanley Cup champions. Tolvanen had 27 points in 26 games. Crazy numbers. Same from Helmerson. Everyone did well. Lindstrom, a playoff monster year in and year out. Kaliev, everybody got it done. Lambos, we got everybody their cups this year. Carson Lambos. Been here for a long time. One of the longest serving players on this team, actually. Very happy that he got another cup. In nets, of course, Atonovich. 16-7-3 he went. 915 save percentage. Absolutely love it. Anaheim Ducks Stanley Cup champions and President's Trophy. Art Ross to Eli Tolvanen. He led the league in points. Also gets the Hart Trophy. Crazy stuff. Cale Makar still gets another James Norris. Another Lady Byng to Tolvanen. Another Vezina to Atonovich. And another Jennings as well. Ted Lindsay goes to Tolvanen too. Crazy, crazy stuff. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen calls it a career. So does DiPietro. But Lucas Dostal, get your tissues, boys. He calls it a career. He had some wild numbers after leaving us on his second stint. He went to the AHL, the NHL, but eventually got back to the NHL. Ottawa, Chicago, won 43 games there. And that's the end of year number 18. Here in year number 19, Eli Tolvanen is up to an 88 overall at the age of 38. Older than last year, but even higher overall. Bickle, Wright, 91s. Lindstrom's going down, so is Helmerson, but Canzanello is bringing it up. The line's at 0, but I had to do what I had to do to keep those people together because they simulate so well. Nathaniel Getzlaf, possibly the son of Ryan Getzlaf, our 4th-line center, a 7th-round pick from Tampa Bay that we picked up. Harrington and Hoagland on the top pair, a very nice pairing, +3, but Hoagland is on the last year of his deal, so is Lambos. Cale Makar, an 82 overall, on the last year of his deal as well. So starting to look at who could be on defense in the future. Atonovich, last year of his deal, at the age of 31. Troy Hennessy, an elite prospect that we picked in the 5th round, is our backup. Bo Horvat got fired in the season, unfortunately, by the Bruins, and we did not win the President's Trophy, unfortunately. We finished 2nd in the NHL, right behind the Vegas Golden Knights. We had a great record, 55 wins, but it wasn't enough. Mats Lindstrom put up 79 points. Very well done for the old man, who is still the purest sniper in the NHL. Wright led the team in points, though. Eli Tolvanen, at a higher overall than last year, put up less points, but still a very good season at 79. Bickle, Canzanello, Helmerson at the age, I didn't see his age, but 88 overall. Cale Makar, 81 overall, still puts up 50-plus points, so you absolutely love to see that. Alvin Sullivan, all the boys getting it done. Nathaniel Getzlaf. So it was a decent season, even though, Antonovich only 41 wins. It wasn't our best year, and, could have been a bit better, but who cares, because we are Stanley Cup champions, taking down the President's Trophy winners in the 2nd round, beating the Penguins in 7 in the Cup Finals, and back-to-back Stanley Cup championships for the Anaheim Ducks here in year number 19. You absolutely love to see it. Doug Bickle won the Conn Smythe, the Ginger, shades of Spencer Connor. If you remember the NHL 18 Canadiens franchise mode, the Gingers just know how to put the puck in the net. Bettman, big smiles as Bickle gets that one. Jesper Helmerson, I believe his 3rd cup as captain he comes to receive. I think maybe his 5th cup overall. This guy's just a monster at the age of 34, 35, still high overall, high points, and he raises the cup high. Gives it to Atonovich as well, who also raises it. Get the phones out, take the picture, put it in your room, blow it up to a 16 by 18, whatever it is, and put it on your wall, boys. He scored 26 points to win the Conn Smythe. Tolvanen was a point per game to win in the playoffs as well. So very, very respectable. It would be an understatement. 16-5-2. Antonovich played well. We didn't win the President's Trophy, but we won the Stanley Cup, and that's all that matters. Conn Smythe to Bickle, right, but no other awards. And then Eli Tolvanen calls it a career with 1,598 points, an absolutely monstrous career in 1,560 games, 720 goals, was still putting up the numbers at the end of his career, a plus 469, 459 power play points. Look at all those seasons. Absolutely blown away that we were able to pick him up. 223 points in 211 playoff games. Thank you, Nashville, for trading him to my team all those years ago. Won 5 cups with us. I don't even know. And then in the offseason, had to make a deal because the 3rd overall pick was up for grabs. The Kings wanted to trade it, so I said, okay, let's do it. I saw this big boy, 6'5", Marcel Lefebvre from the Q. Could have taken that guy, Darcy Abney, but I decided to go with Marcel, big boy Marcel, and he was medium elite, 80 overall, 2-way forward. Very excited to see what he has moving into year number 20. In year number 20, we need to get used to life without Eli Tolvanen as Mats Lindstrom moves up to the top line at an 81 overall. Canzanello signed long-term. He's on the 2nd line. Helmerson down to an 85, but still has it. Sullivan moves up to the 2nd line as an 85 overall. Nice to see him growing. 3rd line, we have our new rookie, Lefebvre, there with some other few randoms there. Not the best bottom 6 we've ever had, but on defense, Harrington and Legault. Legault is back. We had him a few years ago. Great offensive defenseman. We traded him away to San Jose, and now he is back. He put up 50 points last time he was with us. Cale Makar is down to a 76 overall, but let's see if he can still put up the numbers on the 2nd pair with Orlando Winchester, defenseman we just acquired from the Canadiens, I believe. And Lambos is down there. Old man Lambos, been here for a long time now on the 3rd pair. And of course, Milan Atonovich, always between the pipes, signed him to a new deal. Unfortunately, we didn't win the President's Trophy as we just got beat out by the Blackhawks, but we finished 2nd in the NHL. Still nothing to sneeze at, Shane Wright wasn't a big point year for points as he puts up 75. Lindstrom, though, at 80 overall, still put up 65 points and 39 goals, so very nice to see that. Harrington still got it. Lefebvre had a great rookie season, putting together 66 points. Sullivan looking good, and everyone else down the line. There's Cale Makar, 25 points. He still got it. I'm glad he had a little bit left in the tank at the age of 40. Absolutely wild. Antonovich went 43, 17, and 5 with 8 shutouts. In the playoffs, he went on an absolute tear, sweeping through the first 3 rounds before losing in 7 to the Ottawa Senators. Crazy that you go 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, and then 3-4. To go 15 wins and 4 losses, and you lose the cup. Meanwhile, the Senators went to 7 in every single series they had. Really pits, man. I couldn't believe it. Wright scored 31 points. Wasn't good enough for the Conn Smythe even. They never give it to the opposite team. Lindstrom went a point per game at that age, and overall, you can see all the other stats there. Feel free to pause this video at any time to look at things that I go over too quickly as I'm just flying by. Antonovich played very well, 15-3-1. Senators won the Cup, as we said, and the Hawks won the President's Trophy, but we got the Clarence Campbell. Hoagland wins the Norris after we traded him away, and then the Vezina goes to Antonovich once again before Cale Makar calls it a career. Absolutely crazy numbers for him. 1,503 points in 1,635 games. Take a bow, Cale Makar. Also a huge playoff performer, 241 points in 302 games. Easily one of the best defensemen of all time with 15 consecutive James Norris trophies. Bobby Orr, who? Absolutely nuts for Cale Makar. But we're not done there, boys. We're not done there. Grab the tissues because Mats Lindstrom also calls it a career. 789 goals with 1,354 points in 1,391 games. Still putting up great numbers at the end of his career. Could have kept going. 259 points in the playoffs. And don't put the tissues away yet because Gilbert Hull also retires. Look at those stats. 1,135 wins, 376 losses, 129 overtime losses, 14 President's Trophies, 7 Stanley Cups. He had 2 seasons with Pittsburgh where he won the Cup and the President's Trophy. The rest of those stats are all with us, and he won a grand total of 0 Jack Adams trophies. A big shame. Also, Mao here in the draft, the second overall pick was up for grabs, so I decided to trade for it to draft this offensive defenseman, Alexandre Cheverry, from the Q, 80 overall, medium elite offensive defenseman. Looking forward for big things from him heading into year number 21. Now in year number 21, the top 6 is starting to change a little bit, but Shane Wright's still up here, 87 overall. Uriel Gormley is a player that we picked up in free agency. A great sniper with Nashville. He has a great career going for him, 92 overall, still pretty young. Signed him to a big deal to get him to come here now. We need to replenish the system to score some goals without Lindstrom. Lefebvre's up there on the second line now. Helmersson's in his last year of his contract. Bickle as well in the last year of his contract. Brennan McInnes we brought in, the Croatian, the first overall pick in 2022 from Detroit. We brought him in for the third line, and the forwards are looking pretty good. On defense, Isaiah Harrington with Alexandre Cheverry in his rookie season playing with Winchester. Bartley is an elite defenseman that we drafted who's getting his first year as well. Antonovich, 87 overall between the pipes, ready to go for another season. Troy Hennessy backing him up. Good potential. We are President's Trophy winners once again. We're back in the winning column with another great season, as you could see there from our record. 90 points for Gormley in his first season with us. Pretty respectable. 52 goals as well. And happy to have him here. Doug Bickle at the age of 34 still gets it done. Shane Wright, 83 points. Brody Canzanello gets a career high of 78 points, which is nice. Harrington puts up 63. Helmersson now down to an 84 overall, still scores 62 points. You love to see that. Lefebvre, 58. Larocque, McInnes still had some gas with 34 goals from him. Cheverry had a good rookie season. And Antonovich, 53 wins for another wild season. In the playoffs, we tore our way through the Stanley Cup Finals once again, sweeping the first 2 rounds, but lost in 6 to the Detroit Red Wings. Won the President's Trophy and made it to the Cup Finals for the 4th straight year, but couldn't close it out. In the awards, Harrington won the James Norris, which is nice, our first defenseman to win it since Cale Makar. And Antonovich won the Vezina and the Jennings once again. Very well deserved. But grab the tissues because Shane Wright calls it a career. 1,576 points with 1,298 assists. Absolutely wild. The what do you want to call this guy? The milkman, the apple man, just the dishwasher. This guy would just give out the puck like a machine. His best year he consistently would put up 100 plus points when he had the right line mates. Never scored a lot of goals, more than like 20 something, but who cares? Liam Olin retired, Pedro Pacioretty retired, and Carson Lambos, who was a big part of our team, even though we didn't really get to know him much. He played 10 seasons, I believe, with us. Always a great two-way D, plus minus of 65, 52. He was a really good defenseman, and he retires. He went one more year with Toronto. Cameron McKinley retires. He played 1 year with us where he won a Stanley Cup. We went to St. Louis. He went to Dallas, but the season he played with us, 16 wins when we won the Cup in 2027. And now we head into year 22. Now in year 22, Doug Bickle still making that money up on our top line at the age of 35, 86 overall. Jesper Helmerson is our first line center at 83 overall and 37 years old because we have no one else. He has the faceoffs. Uriel Gormley's on his wing. Second line, Lefebvre was Larocque, another guy we got off of free agency, and Canzanello. Third line, Saul McPherson, a good sniper, signed him to 6 years, $7 million, a Polish sniper. He's our third line winger there with Zachary Long, another guy that we got from free agency, and Cyrus Fawcett, our fourth line center down there. And tries to switch things around, but the +3 worked best. On defense, Chevry is now 86 overall, playing with Harrington, who's an 89. Second pair, it was a -1 no matter what you did with Winchester and Lars Martinson. No matter how you changed it around, it was going to have to be a -1 on the second pair. So that was unfortunate. Even though you'll see here that I tried to mix it around, it would not work. So I had to roll with it. In nets, Milan Atonovic, age of 34. He's 88 overall, still making that money. We did not win the President's Trophy this year. We didn't even win our conference. We only got 102 points with a record of 48, 28, and 6. Gormley led our team in scoring with 98 points. A great season for him. Jesper Helmerson, 76 points. Still, the old man still had the magic as our first line center. Harrington, great season for him as well. Chevry put up great numbers, now up to an 88 overall. Lefebvre, the youth is looking pretty good. Even though we're starting to have a changing of the guard over here in Anaheim, the youth is looking quite good. All these other guys at the bottom. Antonovich, 44 wins with a couple shuttles. Not the greatest numbers for him this year, but it didn't matter because we won the Stanley Cup. We swept the Lightning. We barely made it out of 7 in the first round and in the conference finals, but we beat the Lightning in their own home arena in 4 games. I don't remember ever sweeping a Stanley Cup finals in this franchise mode, so it was quite the series. We barely even made it there, but once we did, we destroyed them. And it was nice to get one last cup for Jesper Helmerson as captain, thinking that this might be it for him. Uriel Gormley was our Conn Smythe winner. He put up great numbers as our first-line sniper. We needed someone like him. I'm glad we got him in free agency. And he was the Conn Smythe winner. Now, Jesper Helmerson, one last time as captain. Come get the Stanley Cup, Bello. Old man Jesper. First round pick in 2021. All the way to 2041. In his 20th season, he raises the cup for, I think, the 5th or 6th time maybe as captain? 7th time overall? Something like that. Gormley gets his first cup, nothing with Nashville. I don't think he won the cup with Nashville. Maybe he did one. All these years are blending together. I can't remember anymore. Atonovich gets it. Break out your cameras, boys. Stanley Cup champions. There they are. Also, Bickle scored a really nice goal with like 2 seconds left in this game. Look at this right here. Bing, right over the shoulder. Beautiful. So as I was alluding to, Gormley put up fantastic numbers. 35 points in 23 games to win the Conn Smythe. Definitely worth it. Definitely earned it. Point a game for Jesper Helmerson. Old man Jesper gets it done in his 20th NHL season. Definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. All these guys are first ballots. Lindstrom, Makar, everybody. Those are everybody else's stats. Antonovich, 15, 5, and 2. And in the awards, we won the Stanley Cup, of course, but that was pretty much it as Gormley won the Conn Smythe. And Jesper Helmerson does call it a career, 1,392 points, 585 goals at the age of 38, 84 overall, 8th overall pick in 2021. I almost didn't take him, but I decided to trade for him. Put up his greatest numbers in the last 4 years. Played 1,640 games with us. We're really going to miss him. Thank you, Captain. Here in year number 23, we're putting Lefebvre on the top line center. Bickle's down on the second line as an 86 overall. McPherson's on the second line of him. And Richard. Fawcett's here. Harrington. Chevry as a 90 overall now offensive defenseman in the last year of his entry-level deal, playing with Harrington. Antonovich still our starter at 35 years old and 85 overall. A new captain this season, Doug Bickle, with Jesper Helmerson being gone. Gormley and Harrington get the alternates. We once again win the President's Trophy to no one's surprise with 129 points, 59 wins. Canzanello led our team in points with 95, the first time he leads the team in points. Gormley 90, Richard, Lefebvre. Bickle puts up 66 as an 85 overall. He still got it. Chevry with 62. The French in Quebec must love this team with Chevry and Lefebvre and Legault and all these guys we've had on the team throughout the years. Antonovich with 45 wins, another great season. And we were good enough to win back-to-back Stanley Cups, our 4th cup in 6 years, as we beat the Devils in 6 games. It was a tough road with a couple series going to 7, I think. But we took down the Devils for our 2nd straight cup and our 2nd back-to-back in 6 years. We went cup, cup, no cup, no cup, cup, cup. Canzanello looks like the caveman from the Geico commercials. He goes to receive the Conn Smythe from Mr. Bettman. Bettman, how old is he now? In his 80s, 90s? He still looks good as Canzanello gets the Conn Smythe. And Doug Bickle as captain, the Ginger. His first Stanley Cup as captain. He's been here since his first NHL game. Drafted here back in 2023, I believe, or 2024. I think 2023. And he raises the cup as captain almost 20 years later. I think it was, I have to check that year that he was drafted, but then there's Antonovich with another cup for him. His hand is full of rings. Break the cameras out and take another picture because that is cup number 8 in the books. Canzanello deserved that one for sure. 33 points in the playoffs. Richard, Gormley, all the boys. Bickle, 17 points. He still got it. The shooting category never goes away, man. That's all that matters. And Antonovich put up 16 wins with a decent save percentage to get himself the cup. Also, I forgot to look at the awards for this year and next year, but the year after that, I went ahead and looked and then went backwards, and we did not win any awards for this season, so nothing to worry about there. McInnes retires. Brendan McInnes and Jordan McInnes both retired. Legault, Brandt Clark, all those other guys who have played with us. And now we move into our second to last season. In year number 24, the lines are looking like this. Simon Richard is our top center. He puts up good numbers on a good contract despite his age. Last season put up 76 points, 75 points. I don't know. I'm looking on a really small screen trying to read these numbers. Canzanello, 93 overall, is our top player. Doug Bickle still wants to play. He's on the second line getting it done with McPherson and Lefebvre. Bo Viveros is our third line center, making on a pretty good deal. All these contracts took so long to hammer out, so I hope you appreciate them. Chevry is our top defenseman, making good money. We got him on a nice deal with Harrington on the top pair. And in nets is Antonovich, who at an 85 overall is still putting up numbers, as we had a pretty good season going 50 wins. It's not as good as comparatively, but overall it's really good. But when you look at how we always finished with like 60, but hey, I will take a 50-win season any day of the week. And Canzanello, not a lot of scoring despite the good record. Canzanello, 77 points, led our team. Bickle still got it done with 68 or 69 points. Still putting it up despite the age. Gormley, a tough year for him, actually. As we keep going down, looking at the stats. Norm Goggle, whoever these guys are. Antonovich, 36, 20, and 4. Tough numbers as he's starting to get older. 83 overall, he's dropped down to now more of a backup role. In the playoffs, we were the ultimate losers, as we lost to the Oilers in 6, who lost to the Sharks in 5, who lost to the Stars in 5, who lost to the Blue Jackets in 7. So you absolutely hate to see that. Canzanello had 10 points in 6 games. Gormley turned it on. We had decent scoring, but goaltending did not hold together. Antonovich, 871 save percentage, 4 goals against average. Retirements here, Christian Bugner retires. He was our 4th overall pick in 2025. He had a nice career, went to finish it off with St. Louis with over 1,200 points. Colin Reyes, a former 7th round pick of ours, retires. Congrats on a nice career. And our former 2nd round pick, the Hungarian Jameson DeVries, retires. We decided to make a trade here. Tampa Bay won the draft lottery, jumping from 15 to 1, and they wanted to trade the top pick, so I said, let's go for it. Give me a young guy with good overall on a cheap entry-level deal. So I went after Hartman. Purcell looked good as a centerman, but I said, let's get some scoring from Gavin Hartman, and let's see how we can do as we move into our final season. Now in our 25th and final season on the top line, Doug Bickle is still there, the 2023 draft pick, playing in the 2043-44 season. Bonkers that he's still around and able to put up the numbers and was on the 4th line. Jamie Lowe, we signed him as our 1st line center. Canzanello is still here on our top line. He's been a big fixture on this team. Uriel Gormley is still around as well. Marcel Lefebvre, our 1st round pick in 2038, who's been on the team for a while now. Simon Richard, Gavin Hartman, who we just drafted 1st overall, is on that 3rd line, getting power play time as well, giving it a +3. Harrington, Chevedy, Bartley, Emerson, all these guys. He's on. It's, you know what's crazy about these contracts? The salary cap only goes up a little bit, but these contracts go up a ton. 80 overalls, making $6 million, whatever. Mario Leblanc, our new starting goaltender from the Hurricanes, with Antonovich backing him up. He's a pretty good goalie. Only played a couple full seasons, but I have confidence in him. Antonovich down to an 80 overall. In the regular season, we went 3rd in the NHL with 47, 26, and 9 being our record. Points, Lowe led the team with 91. Very good for his 1st season here. And Gormley, 83, Canzanello, 82, Bickle, 66, still getting it done on that top line. Harrington, 65. He's been here for a very long time at the age of 32 now. He's been here since being drafted. Definitely a future captain were this series to continue past 2044. Brody Canzanello as well. Very good numbers ever since coming here. But yeah, what I was saying before about it's crazy that like a bottom pair D wants like 5-6 million or plus. And then, but the salary cap it doesn't increase at the same rate. Chevedy had a good season, but not as good as his last ones. As you can see by all the points here, feel free to pause wherever you want. Of course, Hartman in his rookie season looked pretty good as well. Leblanc went 40, 23, and 5 with 7 shutouts. Antonovich 7, 5, and 4. Unfortunately, we lost in the 2nd round to the Coyotes in 6 games. And that's the end of the franchise mode right there. Harrington won the James Norris for our last award win. And in the playoffs, Lowe put up 14 points in 13 games. Unfortunately, you can't see the retirement screen. So we're going to assume that Bickle retired after this year, putting up 1,511 points, 736 goals in 1,640 games, 278 points in 320 playoff games, with all kinds of rings on his finger. The shooting category still at 5 stars. 2023, 2024 to 2043, 2044. Assuming as well that Antonovich is retiring, his numbers were pretty nuts as well, going 668, 218, and 70 with 72 shutouts. Insane number of wins for games played with 975. Man, what a career for Antonovich. Coming now to the best part of the video, a summary of all of the awards and honors over the 25 seasons from 2019 to 2044. Starting off all the way back in 2021, Maxime Comtois won our first award, winning the Calder Trophy. The next year after that, John Gibson and Peter Mrachik shared the Jennings in 2022. It was Gibson's only award, actually, despite being one of the better goalies in the league and carrying us many seasons. That was the only award that he won. Antoine Morin won the Calder the year after that in 2023. Our eventual captain and the only remaining original player on our team, Antoine Morin, who scored almost a point per game in his rookie season. Really crazy numbers. That was a really good story that year. Tristan Jarry, who we originally signed to be our backup, ended up becoming our starter and winning the Jennings in 2025 with his good numbers. 6 years later, Mats Lindstrom wins the Hart and Ted Lindsay for us in 2031. usually a player who scores a lot of goals but not a lot of points overall and comparatively to other players, and is not really a carrier of the team, being on the second line, just always like is clutch and everything like that. Out of nowhere, wins the Hart and Ted Lindsay. So that was really awesome to see. One of our best players, one of the best goal scorers of all time. It was really nice to see him get that. Surprisingly, never won the Rocket Richard, but Hart and Ted Lindsay, a huge honor for him there. A couple of years later, Shane Wright did the same thing. I think over 10 years as our number one center at that point. Also wins the Hart and Ted Lindsay, put up over 100 points, was a huge part of our success, putting up seasons of 90, 100 plus assists, points with 90 plus assists. I think his best season actually was 90 assists, but just crazy numbers from Shane Wright as he was assisting on all kinds of goals in that first line and first power play. Pascal Phaneuf won the Jennings in 2035 with Milan Antonovic. Phaneuf was a really good goaltender, had a crazy silver afro, but we couldn't hold on to him. But that was his award. Brody Canzanello won the Calder in 2036 to win our third and final Calder. He was starting off at an 89, so it was a bit easier for him than, say, Morander Comtois, who were in the mid to low 80s. And then our final award went to Isaiah Harrington, who won 2 James Norris trophies in 2040 and 2044. Pretty rare that someone won the James Norris aside from Cale Makar, especially on our team, but just in general in the NHL. Because now you'll see on this next one right here, this is the good one. This is where we see all of the awards that our big boys won. Starting off with Cale Makar, who won 15, let me say it again, 15 consecutive James Norris trophies from 2023 to 2037. He was the best defenseman in the NHL. 13 straight coming with us. 15 in total, 2 with Colorado, then 13 with us. Absolutely mad that Cale Makar won 15 consecutive James Norris trophies. Move over Bobby Orr, move over Paul Coffey, move over Ray Bourque. Cale Makar is here. Next, Eli Tolvanen, who we picked up when he was 26. He was on Nashville's trade block. We picked him up pretty cheap, and he became a legend on Anaheim. 3 Harts, 3 Ted Lindsays, 3 Harts, 3 Art Rosses, 3 Ted Lindsays, 2 Rocket Richards, and 4 Lady Byng trophies for Eli Tolvanen. One of the best Anaheim Ducks and just NHL player in history. Milan Antonovic, always so hard to pronounce his name, but 8 Vezinas, 6 of them coming consecutively, as well as 8 Jennings trophies, with 7 of them coming consecutively. The best goalie in the NHL for a good part of a decade. Absolutely wild that Milan Antonovic, who was a 4th round pick all the way back in 2025, ended up putting insane numbers up, and really just blown away by how he was able to win over 600 games and barely lost over 200 of them. And then also of note, Gilbert Hull, who got fired from Pittsburgh after 2 seasons. He had won the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup with them in his first season. In the second, he got fired. We picked him up. He proceeded to win, not all with us, but in his entire career, 1,135 games, losing 376 and OTLs 129. His stats just with us, I mentioned them earlier, as you could see in the video, just when he had retired. But 7 cups, 14 President's Trophies, and that record, and he wins 0 Jack Adams. So that's a pretty broken system for sure in EA. So I'll just chalk it up to EA being crazy, because in any league he would have gotten a good double-digit worth of Jack Adams trophies, that's for sure. Now looking back at all the Conn Smythes, Rickard Rakell won our first all the way back in 2022. Sidney Crosby won our second in 2026. Mats Lindstrom in 2027. Makar in 2034. Tolvanen in 2037, Bickle in 2038, Uriel Gormley in 2041, and finally Brody Canzanello in 2042 for a total of 8 Conn Smythes. So Tolvanen, toss that Conn Smythe in with the rest of the Hart, Art Ross, Ted Lindsay, Richard, Lady Bings, toss them in. Same with Makar with all those James Norris trophies. Now to finish off, our all-time record from 2019-20 to 2043-44. We made the playoffs in all 25 seasons. Our regular season record was a total of 1,391 wins, 501 losses, and 158 overtime losses. We went 253 and 144 in the playoffs. Not as good as a winning percentage, that's for sure. We won 15 President's Trophies in 25 years. We made 11 Stanley Cup Finals, where we won 8 Stanley Cups. Our best season in terms of wins is when we won 66 games in 2034. So boys, absolutely wild. I've been working day and night the last 3 days, sitting at this computer editing for the last 8 hours. So please, if you liked this video, if you enjoyed the stats, I love the stats, I'm a big stats guy. If you enjoyed this video, please just let me know in a comment, a like, a subscription, whatever you like. I'm putting out daily content in quarantine here, and I'm about to start my next series on my channel, which will be a custom franchise mode. I'm very much looking forward to it. So I hope you'll join me for it and that you'll enjoy the ride. So thank you so much for watching. We did something really special here in Anaheim over the 25 years. It's, I'd chalk it up, if I didn't know better, I would chalk it up to EA saying, okay, well, they just make the user always win so they stay happy. No. Usually these things go up and down on cycles. You have to rebuild and everything, but we kept our core together. We won the Stanley Cups. We won so many President's Trophies. We had an insane team. I've never seen a team like this over a 25-year sim. So again, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you did enjoy it. Consider subscribing if you are new to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.